Ladies and gentlemen, I go by the name of Arlo, Maverick, and I am a man of many hats who just happens to rap, and today we're talking about awards. Now, what's interesting is that when it comes to awards, a lot of times there is a negative stigma that's attached to them, because we see a lot of people who we feel shouldn't get awards that get awards, and people we feel shouldn't get nominations, but I'm not here to talk about that because that could be a conversation for a more casual blog. But essentially what I'm here to talk about today is why you as an artist should be nominating your stuff for awards when they come up. One of the things that you have to understand is that nominating your project, whether it be your song, whether it be an EP, whether it be your album, whether it be a single, for an award is an opportunity to getting your music heard by ears that may or may not even heard of you, people who may not even be aware of you. I am fortunate to be on the Juno Rap Advisory Committee, and I know that through my experience with dealing with that organization, there's a discovery process that happens every single year where we get to find out about new artists that may be from a remote part of Canada that we would have never been aware of. And it allows us to now be put onto what they're doing, and if they're making great music and they're continuing to hustle and get their name out there, then they could go from being someone who was once an underdog and someone who was completely unknown to being an artist that people are just like, yo, like that album should win, you know? And we've seen that happen before. Whether you want to look at it from the standpoint of Drake, who a lot of people say that he just came from nowhere, but he was working for many years and doing his thing. Now he's one of those people who people automatically expect him to win. You look at Sunreal, you look at Classified, you look at countless people, but that's neither here nor there. The point that I'm trying to make is that essentially nominating your project is an investment into your career that I think that a lot of artists should actually be making. When you look at the cost-benefit analysis, you may look at it from the standpoint of, for example, the Junos. Early bird submissions are usually roughly around $60 to $65, where the later submissions are around $90 to $95. Now, if you are smart, you'll get it in ahead of time, so you're only paying $65. But even if you're just paying the $65, I think you have to look at it from the standpoint of, okay, well, $65. What could that $65 be going to aside from this that is going to yield the same results and possibly yield the same amount of promotion? As an independent artist, you do have to be mindful of where you're spending your money, but at the same time, though, when you look at it from the standpoint of, is this going to benefit my career? I think that should be something that should be factored into your decision. And if you factor that into your decision, you'll probably realize that it's going to benefit your career, right? So definitely look into it from the standpoint of that. And also, as I speak to artists out there, a lot of times we are very vain, and so we want to make sure that we look fly and we have this and we have that. Especially in that age of gadgets, we want to have this new phone, we want to have that new phone. That's money that could have went to getting you a nomination that possibly could have gotten you an award. Now, some people will be skeptical, but my advice to you, same advice that Wayne Gretzky always said: you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. If this is what you want to do, then invest into it. Do your research and look at the credibility of the award. Nominations and awards, they open doors for artists. I've seen a lot of artists who have catapulted their career just off of a nomination. So sometimes winning that award may or may not make or break your career, but that nomination is something that can actually propel your career. That award can propel your career. It's a matter of how you, what you do with it afterwards, you know? In basketball, a lot of times it's not a matter of what you do when you have the ball in your hand, it's a matter of what you do when you don't have the ball in your hand. And same thing with awards and nominations. What are you gonna do when you have it? What are you gonna do when you don't have it? If you're not working up to being in that position, then these things may not happen. Something that a lot of artists fail to realize is that a lot of times you're looking at all these competitors and they have machines behind them, they have teams behind them, which I will talk about in another video. But the thing about it though is that you gotta understand is that when you release an album, you should be promoting that album so that people are aware of it, because at the end of the day, the artist who has done the work in order to promote their album is going to be the one that people are quick to recognize, but that could be you if you actually put the work behind it. Sacrifice that time. One of my mentors, Kyle Kraft, always says that spend your time till you no longer have time to spend, and then spend your money, which a lot of artists don't do. So do that. Last point that I wanted to make in regards to awards is that if you get a nomination, and this is something that a lot of artists tend to overlook, if you get a nomination, every single time that nomination is mentioned, every single time that nomination is published, whether it be through a poster, whether it be through an online advertisement or anything like that, that's your your music being promoted on somebody else's dime. That is a huge blessing, because that means that your name is being mentioned when they list off the nominees for this category, and you didn't have to pay for that. If there was anything you were able to take from this video, then please, please, please pay it forward by sharing it with somebody, tagging somebody in it as you post it somewhere, tweeting it, whatever it may be, adding it to a playlist. Even if you have a playlist that is dedicated to music knowledge, and add it to the playlist, because at the end of the day, my hope is that we can actually share information, exchange information, and get to a point where we can actually build a scene that is strong and viable, not only in Canada but around the world, as I've often said. But until the next time, peace.